This is our post-walk stretch. These should help target the muscles that we use when we're walking, keep them loose and ready to go for your next walk. So let's start with our calves. To stretch our calves, we need to do them two ways. One with our knees straight and one with our knee bent. We can do the knee bent seated as well as standing. We can't do the knee straight when standing very well unless you have a strap. So let's just start with backing our feet up toward the chair as far as we can, but keeping your heel as close to the ground as you can, and then just lean forward. So this right here gives you a little bit of a lower calf stretch. Might be pretty gentle. We'll try it again when we're in standing and see if you feel it any differently. The kinds of stretching motions that we do before we do an exercise are more moving and dynamic. We don't hold them for long periods of time. But afterwards, that's the time to do longer, sustained stretching. So now let's target our hamstring. Go a little bit further up on that back side. So we're going to do one leg in front. Keep the other knee bent. We want to keep our spine straight here. We're just going to hinge forward. I'm going to turn sideways on this one so you can see that I'm not rounding my spine. Instead, I'm keeping my spine straight and I'm just hinging forward. I can reach out if I want to. I can keep my hands behind me if I like, if that helps me to keep my chest lifted a little bit. Or if I want to hang on to the chair, I can have one foot in front. I can hang on to my chair and then hinge forward this way. That's another way to try to keep a straight spine. If I round, it's not changing the hamstring stretch. It's then just adding a low back stretch, which is fine as long as you don't have osteoporosis. If you do have osteoporosis, you do not want to round forward. You want to keep that chest lifted and just hinge into your stretch. Let's bring the right one up and do the left side. So we're aiming for around a 30-second stretch. Longer is fine. Shorter is good before we go out to do something, more of a moving stretch. But right now we want to hit that 30-second mark or a little bit more. And then we'll come back up. The outside of our hip muscles have been working. When we're standing on one foot, the outer hip muscles work, and then the back of our hip muscles work to propel us forward. We're going to address those by doing a figure 4 stretch. So ankle over knee. You can hug the knee in if you like that. Sometimes that targets the muscle that feels like it needs the most stretching. Or you can hinge forward and get the stretch that way. Do whichever one feels most beneficial to you. There is no real right or wrong because which part of your hip needs the stretch may be different from person to person. It may also be different from side to side. If I'm going to hinge forward on this one, again, if I'm concerned about my bone health, I want to make sure I keep my spine straight and just hinge forward. And then we'll come back up and switch sides. Yours might feel the same from side to side, and they might feel a little bit different from side to side. So again, you can try hugging your knee up toward the center of your chest, keeping that sits bone firm on the chair, and then just pull the knee in and toward the center. That might be good. You may also want to try pushing down with your other elbow or forearm and then hinging forward a little bit. As you're stretching, you want to just have slow, deep, rhythmic breaths. That inhale can help us to kind of grow longer through our spine, and that exhale can help us sink a little bit deeper into the stretch. We're going to come back up and uncross. So far we've done part of our calves, our hamstrings, the outside of our hips. Now we're going to try to do the front of our hips. I'm going to show you how to do it seated and standing. So if we're seated, we're going to scoot over to one side of the chair, and then I'm going to reach my leg behind me. If you have really long legs, it's possible that your knee might come down and touch the ground. If mine touches the ground, then I end up with these kind of wonky, unlevel hips. So I'm going to keep my knee lifted, but my toes in contact with the ground, and I'm using my glutes to kind of push this hip forward, and I feel a nice stretch through here. The important thing when you're stretching your hip flexors is that you keep your tailbone tucked a little bit so that you're not arching through your low back. If you just think of lifting your belt buckle just a little bit, I bet you'll increase the feeling of the stretch you feel through the front of that thigh. All right, we're going to come over to the other side. We just have to scoot over, reach that left leg back behind you, do that little tailbone tuck, push the front of that hip forward, feel the stretch down through the front of your thigh and your quadriceps muscles and in your hip flexors. We can get another stretch for your quads. We'll do this in another video, lying down on your belly with a strap at home. But for now, we're going to do these post-walking stretches in a place where you could do them on a park bench or standing behind something, using a tree for balance, just so you don't have to have any special equipment. All right, let's bring that foot forward and then scoot back to the center, and then we'll stand up and do the remainder. So I'm going to turn my chair so I can use it for a stretch. I'm going to do my calf stretch now. I'm going to put my right foot forward and my left foot back. You can see my knee is straight. I'm stretching my left leg, and my knee is straight. My foot is also straight, heel and toe in line, and I'm pushing that heel firmly down toward the floor. I should feel a nice stretch up in the upper part of my calf, maybe behind my knee. Now, our seated stretch that we did, we focused on the soleus part of the calf. There's two muscles, the gastrocnemius and the soleus. So in order to feel that one, what we're going to do is now we're going to bend that knee and shift our weight backward. And you might feel a little bit different stretch. Some people like this one, some don't. I think it's nice to do them both with the leg straight and the leg bent to target both muscles. All right, let's stand up, switch sides. Now I'm working on the right side. Heel and toe are in a straight line. My foot's not turned out to the side or turned in. My heel is reaching to the floor, so my foot is flat. And then I'm just pushing and leaning my body weight forward. Now to try the soleus stretch on the right side, what we need to do is shift our weight back a little bit and then bend the right knee. And we'll stand all the way back up. And let's come around. So we've done quads, hip flexors, outside of hips, hamstrings, calves, and now we're just going to do a general upper body stretch. Why don't you put your feet apart a little bit so you have a wider base of support. Bring your arms out to the side, round your spine, and reach forward like you're hugging a tree, and really push your shoulder blades apart, let your head relax, and then we're going to stand up and we're going to lift your chest up and reach your arms out to the sides and point your fingertips backward. And we're going to go again this way, rounding and hugging, And then we're gonna lift, inhale, big breath and open up. One more, big hug the tree. Inhale, lift up, and exhale, and relax. And there you have cool down and stretching following a walk.